If you've been thinking about buying the Sony FX3 this month, I think you might want to wait. Not because the Sony FX3 is suddenly a bad camera. I mean, far from it. In fact, I still think it is one of the best hybrid cinema camera ever made. Argue with your keyboard. But Sony is expected to announce the new Sony FX5 on July 22. And from everything we have seen so far, this might be one of the greatest and biggest updates to Sony's cinema line in years. And now, before we even go any further, I need to say this. Everything I'm about to share is based on reports from trusted sources and early information. Sony has not announced all the specification yet, so don't treat this as a confirmation. Treat it as an information to help you make better buying decision. And honestly, that is the biggest mistake I see a lot of filmmakers make. They buy cameras too quickly. And it is not because they really need them, but because they are afraid to miss out on a feature or something in the camera. So if you're about to spend thousands of dollars or millions of naira on a camera, waiting for a few weeks to see what Sony announces is not going to be a bad idea. Now, here is what we've known so far, we've heard so far. One of the biggest rumored feature is the internal raw recording. And if this turns out to be true, it's going to be a big deal. One of the reasons a lot of filmmakers are still relying on external recorders is because they want that flexibility that RAW gives in post-production. And if Sony finally managed to bring that internally, that is going to really simplify a lot of people's workflow. And another feature expected is in-body image stabilizer. Some people say it's not a big deal, but we don't have it in the FX6. So Sony already has image stabilizer in like FX3, but it would be nice to see how they are going to implement it in the FX5. We have to wait for the official announcements before judging how really good it's going to be. And another interesting rumor is that the camera is going to be available in two configurations, a standard body and another version with an external electronic finder. And that's going to give filmmakers more flexibility depending on the kind of production they shoot. Now, according to people who have already tested the camera, they are describing it as fully loaded. They are saying it offers noticeable better image quality and more professional recording option than the Sony FX3. But here is where I want us to just slow down, everybody, because this is where social media start becoming very dangerous. Just because a new camera is better does not mean you really need it or you need to buy it. I have seen too many videographers, filmmakers sell perfectly good cameras every single year just to buy the newest one. I mean, hoping is going to magically just improve their work somehow. The fact is, it will not. If your Sony FX3 is already helping you shoot great projects, if your clients are happy, if you're making money with the visuals you've been making, I honestly don't think you should rush to sell it. And it's not because I cannot afford the FX5. I'm not 18. So wait, I just want you to watch the announcements, see the official specifications, then decide if the upgrade is actually worth it, if it makes sense for your type of work. And remember, a better camera does not automatically make you a better filmmaker. It's just simply what gives good filmmakers, more options. And sometimes those extra options are not even necessary for the kind of the work you shoot, every day, especially if you're a wedding filmmaker or content creator, what have you. And personally, I think the biggest question is not even if the Sony FX5 is going to be better than the FX3. Of course, it is expected to be. It's a new camera, right? The real question should be that, is it better enough to justify that extra money? Because it's going to be more expensive than the FX3, but not as expensive as FX6. And that is the question I think every filmmaker should be asking. Because buying camera is not just chasing spec, it's about buying the right tools for the workflow you have. And as soon as Sony officially announced the FX5, I will break down every features, explaining what it actually means in real world filmmaking, and most importantly, I will tell you whether it is worth upgrading or not. And until then, I will just wait. But I want to really know, I would love to know, if you are currently using the Sony FX3, would you upgrade to the FX5 based on what you've heard so far, or you're going to keep your FX3, or you are going to just, do both? Let's discuss in the comment section. Catch you on my next video.